One of my favorite characters in Game of Thrones, book and TV show, more so the TV show. In the books, he's a bit different, but that's Tyrion Lannister. In this video, I'm going to go over, instead of all of the miniature differences, because they are so vast and, that would take like probably an hour and a half, I'm going to go over three major points that I think they actually could have enhanced his character a bit, made him a bit more gray in the show had they gone that route. Now, before we actually get started, please do me a massive favor. Slap a like on this video, as the like goal is going to be 1,420. Also, make sure you're subscribed. This is the most important part, along with having your notifications turned on, but go ahead and click that subscribe bell. Now, one of the biggest things I wish they sort of spent more time doing on the show and expanded his character. Mind you, Tyrion's got 36 chapters in the book, so he's got the most POV chapters out of any other character. But one of the things they should have did, which would have made a lot more scenes make sense, and how Tyrion got these nicknames of being like the devil horny imp, is have him do certain things that he did with Cersei early on in the books. Like, for instance, their relationship is totally different. It's a bit more in the books, like tick for tack. Tyrion does one thing, Cersei does one thing, and the hate is much more real. Whereas on the show, Tyrion kind of is just the good guy. Everything he does in season 2 and season 3, before he gets removed his hand to the king in King's Landing, is just to the betterment of the kingdom. There are several things that he does in the show that he does do in the books, but for the most part, he's more self-serving in the books. And that, in my opinion, is more realistic, because no one is sort of that righteous, especially if you're grown up as a Lannister. And, we see how Cersei is. We see how Jaime is. Like, once he gets his hand chopped off, he's a little bit more humbled. But as soon as he gets back around the Lannisters, he starts plotting. And if Tyrion grew up in that kind of household, well, it only makes sense that he's more like that. Whereas in the first season, Tyrion, I think it's pretty accurate to how he is in the books. I think more so in season 2, they made him a bit more of the good guy, which kind of, I guess, makes sense from a TV show standpoint, just to make things simplistic. And, for instance, some of the things he does in the books, just to sort of summarize here, is that he has Cersei poisoned. And this is also that he can plot to have her guards removed from her room. He also has Tommen kidnapped. He threatens to Cersei that he'll have Tommen raped. Tyrion is more, I'll do the right thing if it pleases me kind of guy. Like I mentioned before, he's a lot more self-serving, and it makes his character more in the gray area. And in my opinion, this is more with how humans are in society. You have people that can pretend to do one thing, but secretly they're doing something else. And one of the benefits of reading the books is that we literally get to see the most out of any other character, Tyrion's internal thoughts. He is a lot more abusive in the books. There's several times where, they made it sort of a punchline on the show where he slaps Joffrey around. Well, there's actually a moment in the books where Tyrion slaps Shae, and it's because Shae's mocking him. And that's another thing I want to talk about, is their relationship. Totally different than how it is on the TV show. Almost like the complete opposite. The love that Tyrion has for Shae, I guess, is there. You could say it's more of like an obsessive nature. Tyrion is a lot more sensitive in the books. He doesn't seem quite as proud when he does slap Shae. It's because, like I said, she's mocking him. And then also the fact that the show portrays it as Shae having a lot of love for Tyrion, and Tyrion kind of has to be the bigger person and force her to move away, and he does this by being cruel to her. Not really at all. Tyrion does end up like strangling Shae with her father's chain, but Shae hates Tyrion. She doesn't really like him at all. Tyrion looks like, when you compare the relationship book to show, Tyrion is sort of like a pathetic hornball as compared to how much and how well, I guess, they expanded the relationship on the TV show. But it actually makes more sense as to why, when Tyrion comes back, and this is, I guess, just jumping back to what I was mentioning earlier. Sorry, my thoughts are jumbled. You could tell this is all one stream of consciousness. But, jumping back to what I was saying earlier about kidnapping Tommen, this actually makes a lot more sense in the TV show, because when Tywin comes back to King's Landing and he's such an asshole to Tyrion, it makes more sense. It gives Tywin's character some more introspective, as we see, like, Tywin in the books is similar to how he is in the show, but more in that gray area. He does certain things. Like, there's a certain road system in the Crown Lands. I think it was the Crown Lands. But yeah. You know, if you guys want to, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if I were to go through every single detail that's different from how Tyrion is on the books, it would be like a lot longer of a video series, and I can't do that. Just let me know down below in the comment section. But just to sort of wrap this video up, one of the biggest things, I think, and it's actually sort of where Tyrion's character is left off in Dance of Dragons, like his last chapter, he's sort of signing papers to join the Second Son so that he could actually meet Daenerys, because the meeting that they have in the TV show doesn't happen. It hasn't happened yet. So there is the pits of Daznak, and the fighting pits are reopened, but there's basically something similar that happened at Joffrey's wedding, where Tyrion is with Penny, who is this dwarf that he grows really close with, and he's actually abusive towards her as well. He slaps her, but they are putting on they don't know it yet, but they're putting on a bit of a mock joust. And then at the end, they're going to be eaten by lions. So Daenerys finds out about this. She's watching this happen. She just sees dwarves. She doesn't know that it's Tyrion. Tyrion knows it's her, and like it's kind of ironic because Daenerys has this reputation of being like the queen, the mother of dragons, and like this great woman. And Tyrion sees her as sort of like this scared little girl. But she just looks over and sees two dwarves in wooden armor that are about to get killed by lions. So she ends up getting furious at this, and that's where Drogon comes down into the pits, and she basically saves Tyrion's life. But they never actually meet. It's afterwards where Tyrion decides to join the Second Son so that he could, they know that they're going to be fighting for Daenerys, him and Jorah, and they hope to get an audience with Daenerys. That actually hasn't really happened yet. And one of the things that Tyrion goes through in the 5th book, and they kind of show on it a little bit in the 5th season, but we all know the show started to really go downhill in the 5th season. Is Tyrion's very suicidal. He contemplates it very frequently. You see that he's become pretty much self-destructive and self-serving. Daenerys saving his life sort of turns around a little bit, but we don't really know if he'll end up the same place on the TV show as he does in the books. There's so much more story left to be told. You all let me know down below in the comment section if there's something that you think I left out that's, a pretty big difference. I look forward to chatting with you all down there. But like I said at the beginning of this video, the like goal is going to be 1,420. Also, make sure you're subscribed and have your notifications turned on. Those are the two most important things right now. I think we might have to do a new countdown to 100,000 subscribers on this channel because we are quickly losing subs. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and a super special shout out to every single member of my Patreon family over on patreon.com/SirHuntsReviews. I want to thank you all again so much for watching. My name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunt's Review.